You can see Canadian Kurtis Rourke and Indiana in the first round of the college football playoffs against Notre Dame. That'll be Friday right here on TSN. The tank-ranked Hoosiers were 11-1 this season. Coverage of the game is Friday beginning at 8 Eastern right here on TSN. Which leads us to another edition of Todd's Odds, brought to you by FanDuel with our sports betting analyst Todd Fuhrman. So Todd, the Indiana Hoosiers and Canadian Kurtis Rourke, 7.5-point underdogs for that game on Friday. Can you give Canadians a little hope that there might be an upset?
I mean, Jay, look, we like to think of this segment as being educational more often than not. And I learned something new, that American college football is televised on TSN. I figured it was all World Junior hockey coverage from now until they crown a champion when the tournament kicks off on Boxing Day. So, see, I'm learning something new. And I did know that Kurtis Rourke, though, hails from the Great White North. And I do think Indiana has a puncher's chance to push Notre Dame a little bit more than that number suggests. I know the Hoosiers' resume leaves a lot to be desired when you go through their strength of schedule. When they stepped up in class, they struggled immensely in the second half against Michigan and for 4 quarters against Ohio State. But they're not going to be overwhelmed athletically, at least from the way I've handicapped this game against this Notre Dame team. You look at what Al Golden's going to do to try and confuse Kurtis Rourke. He has seen a lot of the looks that he's going to encounter in this game. And I think Indiana's skill position players are being sold a bit short. Would not be surprised if we saw some points on the board and Indiana hanging around with a chance to pull off the outright upset in South Bend on Friday night.
All right, let's now take a look at the odds to win the U.S. College Football National Championship. We've got Oregon as a slight favorite over Texas, Todd, according to our friends at FanDuel. We have 6 teams at 7-1 odds or lower. Who do you like?
You know, it's not going to be a sexy pick, but I think Oregon is the rightful favorite. They ran through their regular season undefeated, dispatched a very good Penn State team in the Big Ten Championship, and are worthy of that #1 overall seed. What I do think is interesting, though, and it doesn't lend itself to a lot of value and upside, Texas and Penn State have arguably the most favorable roads of any team. And I think that's where the college football playoff format may get retooled a little bit after this offseason. But I really think we're talking about chalk in through the semifinals and into the final. The one team that I think offers a little bit of opportunity and upside, maybe a money line rollover. If Notre Dame gets through Indiana, they could be a difficult out going forward. But I do think that game will be really close. But I'm going to make a case for the chalk here begrudgingly in the Oregon Ducks.
Let's go to Saturday's Ravens and Steelers matchup. This is a huge game. The Ravens are almost a touchdown favorite, but the Steelers have won 7 of their last 8 matchups against Baltimore. Todd, who do you see coming out on top?
You know, they have had Lamar Jackson's number. And the craziest part about two franchises that play each other not once but twice every single season, for whatever reason, a combination of injuries and Week 18 matchups, Lamar doesn't exactly have a long track record against the Steelers, and the one he does has been a little bit problematic. But we're going to want to monitor the injury report. George Pickens and T.J. Watt, the 2 big names for the black and gold. If they're out there, it may give the Steelers a puncher's chance to win the division outright and be able to pull it off. If both of those players, or even if Pickens can't go, it creates a real problem for a Steelers offense that needs to attack this Ravens secondary, because they're not going to be able to run the ball consistently. We saw them struggle immensely against the Eagles. So for BJ, if Pickens is out there, I like the game over the total. If Pickens does not play, I think that Baltimore can aim the final score and exact a measure of revenge for the game that got away from them on a failed 2-point conversion the first time around.
Finally, Todd, this is the last time we will speak to you in 2024. The next time I get to chat with you will be to look ahead to Super Wild Card Weekend in the NFL. So my final question for you is there a team on the outside of the NFL playoff picture looking in that you think, well, that team's actually going to make it to the postseason when this is all said and done?
I mean, Jay, what division do we talk about every single week during this particular segment? We have made no mention of this particular division so far, so I would be remiss if I didn't highlight the parity of the NFC West. And I think when you go through that division from top to bottom, I think that's where you could have a team on the outside looking in with an ability to crash the party. I don't think it'll come from a wild card spot. It'll most likely be in the form of a division champion. But so many questions still to be answered. The Rams, a short favorite on the road this weekend against the Jets. the Seahawks short home underdogs as we await the status of Geno Smith, who wasn't able to finish the game last weekend against Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. And, of course, the Arizona Cardinals just kind of hanging around with at least a favorable matchup on paper, although I will put them on upset alert. So I think we could see a team not in the playoffs from the NFC West end up punching their ticket. And let's circle on our calendars. Week 18, Seahawks against the Rams. Ooh. That may be for all the kit and caboodle to try and get in out of that division. Luke Wilson's very favorite.
Oh, he's so pumped that we're probably going to be talking about this division all the way till the final week of the regular season. Nobody's been happier about this than Luke. Todd, you've been great on the show all season. Hope you have a great holiday season in Vegas, and we'll chat with you in 2025, okay?
Always a pleasure, Jay. Have a happy and healthy New Year and a Merry Christmas and a happy Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and whatever holiday you celebrate. Part of the TSN family.
That's exactly right. We'll be back right after this.